So this morning is Owen's morning for his AccuScope treatment on his suspensory, so we're just gonna load up and head off to do that. It is really hard to believe, but we are actually just a couple weeks away from Owen's 60-day checkup on his suspensory. It should go back the 6th, but Jason wanted to go to his appointment and he has to work on the 6th, so it'll probably make the appointment for the following week. So he'll actually be a little over 60 days and have one more AccuScope treatment under his belt when we take him. So that'll be good. I'm nervous but excited to see what it shows because, I mean, we haven't, like, he's never taken a lame step at a walk. And we can't work him, obviously, to see what he looks like. So I will be just as surprised as the vet when he tracks him at that appointment to know if he's 100%, if he's still off. So fingers crossed that we take him in and he's flawless. That's what I'm hoping for. I have a plan in my mind for how I want to rehab him and bring him back. But I need to sit down and actually put it on paper and have like a solid plan and stick to that plan, because I'm the same way with my own training. Like, if I don't have a program and a nutrition plan, like, I'll literally have it planned out 12 weeks in advance, like where I want to be, and I might tweak it a little, but I try to adhere to that, is if I have a plan and work my plan. So I don't want to like get the all clear and then be like, okay, well, let's just hop on him and see. Like, no, I fully intend to do a lot of groundwork and build him up and re-strengthen his hind end, his abdominals, and just really prepare him to come back. But I've also been spending a lot of time lately thinking about like where I want us to go, what I want to do. There's two paths, but they don't really align. So obviously he's a full quarter horse. He's bred for hunter under saddle and he has very pretty legs and he's very talented. But I am super sick of how they have these hunt seat horses looking in the stock breed classes. They're too slow. They look like pleasure horses should look, and it's just a wreck. And I'm not gonna ask that of him. He's way too pretty, just out carrying himself naturally, to crank on him. But then and even if I could, that's not a hunter horse. Like, that cannot approach a fence and get over it safely. And then you see like their fences at the World Show are like baby green hunter fences anywhere else, because they're not carrying themselves to get over anything else. The hunter under saddle was designed to be a prerequisite to fence work, to have something to exhibit young horses in, to get them out, and you're supposed to exhibit legs that will take that young horse on into its career as a fence horse. And that is not what we have today. And I'm sorry I'm so super nasally and congested. I've had COVID all the previous week, and I will say this time it went my butt. So I still sound terrible. I am obviously going out in the public. And so I've done my little 5 or 6 days or whatever the doctor told me of quarantine. So I'm safe, but I still have all this going on, and I do feel much better. But back to my little rant. I have been obsessively following and watching the U.S. Hunter Jumper Association's hunter finals. Enjoyed watching just the horse and rider talent. It was just really nice to see good forward moving hunter horses. Like, I don't like to go fast. I don't like controlled chaos. I don't like speed events. It's not my thing. I enjoy my pleasure horses, proper pleasure horses, and hunt seat horses. I tell everybody I don't like to go fast. I'm not scared of it, I just don't enjoy it. And so I want to be able to show the hunter jumper stuff, but those two horses don't align. And no, you're probably never ever, for good reason, gonna see a quarter horse at the hunter finals. It's fine. Like, I know my limits. I'm not trying to make it to that stage, but I would like to be able to show him at like schooling shows or local shows. A barn that I went to a lot when I was little has been offering the USHJA outreach program shows. So I've definitely like want to attend those, and he's only 4. I don't ever start my horses over fences before 6, and he's so big, like it will, when I start him over fences, it will be when the vet that I trust says yes, he's fine, go with God. Then at that point we will consider that. And I kind of think with him it might even be like 7, but he's got a lot of flat work to do in the meantime anyway, so that's not an issue. Like, we've got time. But where that all started, sorry, I get off on a soapbox. The two horses don't align, and so I need to decide with him which direction we want to focus on. And not that I don't think that in time he'll be able to cross back and forth, but he's very green, and it's not fair for me to ask him to go back and forth at this point. I think my current plan is to focus solely on framing him and asking him to carry himself more upright and prepare him to start over Cavaletti and move towards the fence work over the next couple of years. Just all things that going into this comeback are on my mind, but I want to sit down and put them on paper and come up with a plan, like a week by week schedule, to bring him back slowly and rehab him properly so that we don't have this issue and we can go on healthy and strong. So, what?
What are you doing? Why do you want to eat that? Aaron's gonna give you anything else. Just be good.
So that was good news. He started out reading at like, I think she said 76, 75, so mid-70s, and opened up to a 103. So that's exciting. And now we impatiently await his 60-day appointment, because I think at this point everybody wants to see that sonogram. So I did sit down and come up with a plan for like Owen's comeback, and it's like very tentative, but again, I like to have a plan to stick to it. If he needs to go slower, that is on my mind, but I have to keep my excitement at bay, and so I don't overdo it. I came up with this assuming he's released on October the 9th will be his full 90 days. And that leaves us like 9 weeks before a schooling show at Abilene that I am thinking about taking him to and doing the ground poles. I also just want to go and see, it's been a long time since I've been to that type of show, and like hunter shows and quarter horse show or like stock type shows are just two different things. So I do want to at least go watch. If he's not ready, that's fine. if we may just carry him up there and let him see the things and bring him home. Like, it's all tentative, so I don't want anybody coming at me and being like, you're throwing him back into it or rushing him or like anything like that. I'm not. The plan is so I don't get excited and rush him. But that being said, I went ahead and planned out like a 9-week plan, and that gives us the 9 weeks between, again, tentatively October the 9th and the December the 16th show. So I'm not gonna go like line by line, but I planned like 3 to 4 work days a week. I will massage and stretch him on the off days, which I just do anyway. I like to incorporate those types of activities into our time together so that like every time he sees me, he's not just dreading that I'm gonna drag him out, make him work. I like to spend time with my guys that is pleasant for them or is just simply to make them feel good so that they like me. I'm gonna go over the work days, but just know that he's gonna be massaged and stretched and walked and turned out and things on those off days. So week 1, I started just super simple, getting him walking on the lunge line, like over ground poles just for like 10 minutes or so, and do that like 3 days that week. Like I discussed before, my main goal is just to get him strong and get the muscles that he needs to carry himself properly redeveloped, and to allow him to regain that muscle and balance and come back strong and not have to worry about trying to carry me at the same time. So there's very little riding in this and a lot more groundwork and driving and poles and just different exercises to really help him come back confidently. Week 2, again, is a 3-day week. So I'm gonna start him out at a walk jog, like not pushing him to extend and use himself much, but just for like 15 to 20 minutes over ground poles for 3 days that week. And then week 3, I have 4 work days, and I do intend to start like walking and pushing his trot out a little bit over ground poles for 15 to 20 minutes. Day 2, I want to walk, trot, and canter him over ground poles. I probably won't canter him through ground poles, but just start like using that gait again. And then day 3, I have walk, trot, alternating elevated ground poles. I follow a girl on Instagram. I will tag her because I get a lot of my gymnastic work ideas from her videos, and a lot of my massage and stretches and pressure point acupressure type work from her page. So I find a lot of value in that. Every other elevated ground pole just helps to like get him lifting and re-strengthen and pick his belly up. And so week 3, day 4 is the first time I have like a walk trot ride planned, a 10-minute warm-up walking and pushing his body around and getting him kind of loosened up, and then a little bit of like walk trot at the end. Week 4 is a 4-day week, and I have day 1 planned to walk, trot, canter the ground poles, and again elevate alternating poles. That's not something that I would typically canter him through or probably even trot. That alternating elevated poles is just like I would walk him back and forth through those on the lunge line. Week 4, day 2, I have walk, ground poles elevated on one side. And again, that's one of the gymnastic type ideas that I got from the girl on Instagram. So you just elevate one side, like 3 to 4 poles. And I will work him both ways through that, but especially since his left side's going to be his weak side coming back from that, it really makes them pick up and exercise the whatever weak side they've got. Day 3, a walk, trot, ride, and I specified exercise 1, which I have this 101 jumping exercise book that I have used for years. Like, I have wore this thing out, and I will go ahead and show. It's a super valuable guide. It can be used at any level of horse or rider, because the exercises are designed to improve the horse and the rider. So it's not something that you have to have a ton of knowledge to start. Like, it starts out super basic and helping you develop the fundamentals to go into jumping. So this exercise here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It has 2 ground poles set up like a chute, and you're to ride it in a figure 8, and you're to alternate the walk and the trot and really focus on keeping your circles round, keeping them exactly the same. You're to add halts in the middle and add transitions throughout. So that is the first exercise in that book. I have actually worked that exercise on him before, and he gets kind of fishy. I'm excited to bring him back to that and really work on getting him strong and carrying himself and moving forward properly. Day 4, week 4, I bit him up for the first time. Typically the way that I bit up or drive my horses is very level, and with him I'm so I usually just use like a Western saddle and use the rings on that. I think that because I want to elevate him, I'm going to invest in a better surcingle with multiple rings, where I can actually bit him up more elevated and not flat. I want him to start to lift his shoulders. Week 5, I'm gonna do a lunge line, walk, trot, canter over ground poles. And I have kind of a pinwheel thing drawn out for that. Day 2, walk, trot, bit up high, and then day 3, walk poles elevated on one side, and I just have like walk. So just toning it down, bringing him back, letting him have a little bit of a relaxed day. Week 6 is a 4-day week, and I have a walk, trot, canter, bit up high over with walk, trot poles. And then day 2, I have walk, trot, canter, ride with back exercise 1 again. And then day 3, I have walk, trot, alternating elevated ground poles on the lunge line. And day 4 of walk, trot, canter, ride over ground poles. A little bit more going on that week. And then week 7 is similar. I have to bit him up with no poles. So again, I went to bit him up, but remove the stress and having to think about the poles, and just kind of bring him back a little bit. And then day 2, walk, trot, canter, ride with exercise 1 or 2 if 1's going well. 2 is essentially, it's a figure 8 pattern, but instead of going through a chute of poles, you go over one ground pole, and that is at the walk and the trot. And again, like making sure you're visualizing a track, keeping your circles. If your trot circles 8 strides, then when you change direction, that one needs to be 8 strides, and that they're round. And just, it's a similar exercise but different footwork. So day 3, walk, trot, bit up high over poles. Day 4, walk, trot, ride, no poles, super low key. Week 8 is a 3-day week, walk, trot, canter, ride with exercise 2. So I intend to kind of be to 2 by then. Day 2, bit up high and alternate elevated ground poles. Day 3, I have walk, trot, ride, ground pole style class. So if all is well at that point, I will kind of lay out like some ground pole lines and just see where he's at with that. Because again, if I were to carry him and enter him at Abilene, I would enter him in the ground poles classes. And so I don't want to shock him, and he's like never seen that before when we show up. Week 9, I have 3 days planned, because it would be like that Saturday would be that show. So I have a ride with exercise 2, day 2 bit up, and day 3 ride over the ground pole style class again. So again, that's very tentative. I don't intend to stress or push him to that show for any reason. But this is kind of what I came up with. Just a ton of groundwork. Just letting him develop. I think I'm gonna put him on 100X Equine's Regen X when I start him back. He always gets the Gut X, and he's been on the Osteomax for several months now. But I think to build that muscle back, because he's lost his top line and his little pretty hips and stuff being on stall rest this whole time. So I will probably put him on the Regen X too when we come back to help redevelop that muscle. So that's that plan. I also ordered some new books off Amazon, and I will link them below with my affiliate link. So if you shop through that link, it really helps me out. I am also probably going to start a books highlight on my Instagram, and like kind of post whatever book I finish up and then like my takeaways from it. I do think that it's extremely important to continue your education, and reading books that top writers have taken their time to publish is a good way to do that. It's kind of like having that trainer in your pocket. The first one that I got is Judging Hunters and Hunter Seat Equitation, a comprehensive guide for exhibitors and judges. That's that. Like I said, I will link these below with my Amazon affiliate link. The reason that I really wanted to read this one, and I've read some other articles lately along the same subject line, is because you cannot go into a class and not know how it's judged. How do you know what your goal is, what you're writing for, how you should be writing, what the objective of the class is, if you don't know how it's being judged? For example, I've been fortunate enough, my trainer since I started has been a judge, and so I've gotten to scribe. I've studied rule books inside and out so that I know what they're expecting in that class, and I know the penalties. So if I tick a log, it's a penalty. It's not a 5-point penalty. Move on, because that's probably not going to make or break your class. But if you drop the gate and you miss, I'm speaking in trail terms here, my mind jumped, but if you drop the gate and so you've not completed an obstacle, then you know you're automatically disqualified. It is what it is, but it's not a shock to you at the end of the day when you don't place. To know what kind of the rule of thumb is that the judges should be looking for in the hunter jumper stuff, I think is going to be extremely valuable. The second book that I just got is Geoff Teall with Amy Hendrickson, and it is Develop a Winning Style, Hunter Jumpers and Equitation. We're a long ways from this, but I want to have what I'm working towards in the back of my mind to know what I'm working towards. So I am looking forward. I think I'm actually going to start with this one, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I am bored and sad that I'm not writing right now. It'll help keep me occupied. I unfortunately have not been able to create just a whole lot of equestrian related content because Owen's out. I'm looking forward to vlogging his 60-day follow-up appointment with Dawn. Really just hoping for good news. Well, I guess we won't know until we get there. So I do have some stuff coming up that I'm excited to bring you guys along with. That's what I've got going on for this week. If you guys have any tips, tricks, advice, opinions, I'm open to anything. I've never brought a horse back from a suspensory injury before, so I've tried to very carefully do my research and anticipate bringing him back slowly, and I think I've written that out pretty well. Comments, I'm open to comments. If you like what we're doing, if you would like, subscribe, share my videos, that helps me out a lot. Shop through those affiliate links, that helps me out a lot. And I just really want to be able to continue to create content that maybe will help somebody else. Maybe they can take this program, kind of a rough outline if you're in a similar situation. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.